Hello there, very good evening and welcome to our Primetime News Bulletin. I'm Shane Silva.
I'm Stephanie Lazarus. Before we go into stories in detail, let's take a look at the headlines.
Investigations underway into a shooting at Grand Pass which left 2 people dead, 2 injured persons in critical condition. Conflict between nurses and midwives at the Ragama Teaching Hospital. Ceylon Petroleum Corporation decides to turn back a stock of substandard furnace oil. And a SARC satellite to be gifted by India to the region.
Now stories in detail. The Colombo Crimes Division and the Grand Pass Police have commenced investigations into the shooting incident in Andrugeg Watta in Colombo, which claimed the lives of 2. The deceased were identified as residents of Grand Pass.
The shooting took place along the Mahawatta Road in Andrews Watta Grand Pass at around 8 o'clock last night. At the time of the incident, the victims were engaged in putting up decorations ahead of the St. Anthony's Church annual street parade. The police said that the shooting had been carried out by 2 persons who were travelling on a motorcycle. The 2 victims were identified as residents of Andrews Watta in Grand Pass. 2 others were critically injured in the incident and are currently receiving treatment at the Colombo National Hospital.
We don't know whether it was his enemies. However, he has not spoken of any enemies. There is no point of finding the cause of death. We only want to know the perpetrators behind this murder. We don't know of any enemies. They are boys. They stay outside. It was half hour since they left. When we rushed to the area, they were lying on the ground. We don't know why they were shot.
28-year-old father of 1, Uswattage Janit Chamara, and 26-year-old Subasingha Arachige Kavinda Kalum were killed in last night's shooting. The injured were identified as 33-year-old Sashi Kumar and 27-year-old Chamara Sampath Rodrigo.
They
had several wounds. One of the injured is receiving treatment at the intensive care unit of the accident ward, while the other is receiving treatment at the neuro-intensive care unit of the hospital. The 2 injured are in a critical condition. The police say that much information has come to light regarding the shooting last night. The motorcycle which the assassins had tried to flee in had met with an accident. Preliminary investigations revealed that the suspects had fled the scene after hijacking a 3-wheeler that had arrived in Andrews Watta at the time of the incident. We have been able to uncover many information into the incident based on the motorcycle in which the assassins travelled. We are conducting investigations. One of the victims was on bail in connection with drugs. We are investigating whether the other victims are connected. Meanwhile, the police say that a T-56 firearm was used in the shooting. 18 bullet casings and a bag that was used by the assassins were also found at the crime scene. The police say that a T-56 magazine was found inside the bag in question. During the time of the war, automatic firearms, bombs and several other weapons were used. Following the end of the war 5 years ago, it is evident that such weapons are still being used. This is not a good development for the betterment of the society. A police constable was killed in Kurunagala on an early occasion. The murder weapon was a T-56 firearm. The society needs to engage in a discussion against the use of such weapons. The police meanwhile will take steps to seize such weapons. The magisterial inquest was conducted today.
In other local news, tensions erupted between a group of midwives, nurses and minor staff workers at Ward 17 of the Ragama Teaching Hospital today. The situation had a debilitating effect on the functions of the hospital and severely inconvenienced patients too.
Tensions flared when a group of minor staff workers at the Ragama Teaching Hospital attempted to enter Ward 17. The president of the Government Midwifery Services Association claims that nurses had attacked a group of minor staff workers who had brought food for a group of midwives who had allegedly been locked in the labour room.
I was on the night shift. I went inside and asked them to open the door when I was coming out. They blocked the door instead, and then my hand got caught in the door.
They are checking minor staffers who are going into this labour room. They have assumed the duties of the police. Thereby, we decided to take action. They have kept the midwives in there for 5 days. They had no food and no water. They do not have the right to check any worker. The entire minor staff is against this.
We ask that we will be allowed to do our duty in freedom.
However, nurses claim that they did not carry out such an assault. Following the incident, our cameras captured footage of nurses refraining from carrying out duties and loitering.
All of the minor staff gathered at the entrance to Ward 17 and attempted to enter. The nurse at Ward 17 told them that they could not enter, at which point all the other staff commenced assaulting them. We never locked them in. We always gave them the opportunity to leave. They jumped over the gate and entered the ward. They entered and began shouting and entered the labour room with the midwives. The other group started smashing equipment in the ward.
The minor staff at the hospital had freed the midwives who were allegedly being held in the labour room for 5 days and had hospitalized them. Minor staffers were also seen carrying out the duties of nurses.
I took over duties of the labour room on the night of the 26th. The next day I was unable to hand over the shift and leave because the nurses were outside blocking the door. Only today was I able to leave the labour room. I couldn't go to the toilet and I had no food and no water. About 200 nurses locked all the doors and said they would not let us leave. We did not receive anything, not even water, until the night of the 28th. Since the 6th of June, we have been begging the director not to allow a situation like this to arise. But the director observed a policy of silence. They even answered their calls of nature inside here. They did not come out for 4 days. They were given food and they ate and changed clothes inside. This could cause harm to newborns.
Following a discussion with administrative officers at the hospital, the director of the Ragama Teaching Hospital told Newsfirst that a group of nurses had attempted to assault him when he intervened to resolve the problem.
No matter how much we try to resolve this matter and carry out services, there is no cooperation from the nursing staff whatsoever. And all of you admit this. No one will agree to this. Even the Deputy Director General of Health Services could not resolve this matter. This morning, a group of about 4 or 5 members of the nursing staff tried to come into my office and assault me over an incident which took place this morning. They blamed me and left, saying that they will resort to trade union action. I will lodge a complaint with the police regarding this matter, and I will also name these nurses to the Ministry of Health so disciplinary action can be taken against them, because this is a serious crime.
The minor staff of ward number 17 harassed and assaulted us. So a group went and complained about this to the director of the hospital. So this must be the reason why the director is alleging that a group tried to assault him. At the time, those who went to complain were chased away. At no instance have we ever scolded the director in any way. The director knows this. Because of certain forces, the director is being encouraged to do certain things.
The doctors at the hospital supported the minor staff and the hospital director and agreed to continue with the day-to-day operations of the hospital.
We will continue to give our fullest cooperation to serve this hospital and its patients, together with all the doctors, medical students and all employees in the health sector of the hospital.
The hospital director then boarded an ambulance and left for the police station to lodge a complaint. Patients at the Ragama Teaching Hospital were severely inconvenienced as a result of the tensions.
There is no way of getting medicine, so now we have to go to Colombo. He needs to undergo surgery and there is no way of doing it.
Director General of Health Services Dr. Palita Mahipala too visited the hospital today to hold talks regarding the problem. A nurse who had made a statement while en route to these talks had to undergo this response from the midwives. The Director General then held talks with the police, hospital administration and the factions involved in the issue.
Everyone's hope is for this hospital to function as per usual, and for this we need the services from all our teams. Whether it is the doctors, specialists, nurses, matrons, midwives or minor staff, they all have to work together. Through this I believe that normalcy will be restored to the Ragama Teaching Hospital.
Devika Kodituaku, the president of the Government Midwifery Services Association, and Saman Ratnapriya, the president of the Government Nursing Officers Association, were called into the Newsfirst Centre in Colombo today. Earlier this evening, Newsfirst Gayan Sampath interviewed both representatives on the Primetime News Bulletin at 7 p.m. on our sister channel Sirsa TV, while Newsfirst Amarasiri Bandara joined in live from the Ragama Teaching Hospital, which is now at the centre of this controversy. Let's have a look at some excerpts.
The nursing staff are oppressing the midwives as if they are beneath them and are now trying to incorporate the midwife service into the nursing service.
නැහැ ඇත්තටම මේක වැරදි චිත්‍රයක් මවාපාන්න හදනවා දේවිකා සහෝදරිය සමාජයට.
No, Gayan, in truth, Devika is attempting to paint a false picture to society. Primarily, Gayan, there is no jealousy on our part. Nurses and special grade matrons who are at a middle management level are the ones who are responsible for supervision and administration in the health sector. The top-level management comprises of doctors. The nurses and special grade matrons are carrying out a task essential for the health sector. This is the system that has prevailed at the Ministry of Health. As per this system, the nurses and special grade matrons are responsible for managing the nursing service, the family health service and the minor staff. What the midwives are trying to do now is to have a collapse in management.
හරිෂ්ඨකාර්ය මණ්ඩලය කළමනාකරණය කරනවා. ඒතකොට පෞල් සෞඛ්‍ය සේවාව මේ මොහොතේ ඉල්ලන්නේ මේ කළමනාකරණය සහ අධීක්ෂණ ක්‍රමවේදය බිඳින්න.
මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ මෙතන විසමක් ඉන්න නම් අපි මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් මේ විශේෂයෙන්ම
This problem commenced with the issuing of a circular regarding the midwives clocking in and out of duty. The Ministry of Health must arrive at a decision to resolve this and give us a written order.
මේ ප්‍රශ්නය මුල් කරගෙන තමයි මේකේ ආරම්භය. ඒ නිසා මේක මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ විසඳන්න සෞඛ්‍ය අමාත්‍යාංශය තීරණයක් ගන්න ඕනේ මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන්. ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපිට ලිඛිත නියෝගයක් දෙන්න ඕනේ.
සඳහා චක්‍රලේඛයක් නිකුත් වෙලා තියෙනවා.
A circular has been issued asking them to sign in as required. We engaged in peaceful trade union action because this was not happening. We have been engaged in this since the 26th, but today a controversial situation arose.
නමුත් අද සෝචනීය තත්ත්වයක් උදා වුණා සාමකාමීය වෘත්තීය සමිති ක්‍රියාමාර්ගයකට පිට කිසිම
We have not been told of any circular. What happened today was not an assault. It was a humanitarian operation.
Opposition leader Ranil Wickremesinghe visited Aludgama and Beruwala yesterday to inquire about the recent unrest that broke out in the respective areas.
The opposition leader participated in religious observances at the Aludgama Khande Viharya before visiting the affected areas. The UNP party leader, who later visited the mosque located in Darga town, held discussions with area residents. He also held discussions with the chief prelate of the Shaila Bimbarama Viharya in Kurundavatta Beruwala prior to visiting the Sapugada Sri Mahaviharya located in the Beruwala Temple Road.
ඇයි පිටින් කණ්ඩායමට මෙහාට එන්න සිදු වුනේ? What was the purpose of a group of outsiders arriving at this location? There's a mechanism of solving problems when there are different ethnicities residing at a particular location. Why wasn't the procedure followed? A need has arisen to create a religious harmony. The Muslim community should live without fear. The Muslim community has therefore proposed that a common consensus should be reached following discussions. I believe that this needs to progress over time.
JVP Propaganda Secretary Parliamentarian Vijitha Herath claims that it is the Janata Vimukti Peramuna that is carrying out the duties of a progressive opposition in the country today. He says that the UNP, which is the main opposition party, has failed to carry out this task.
අද රටට අවශ්‍ය වෙලා තියෙන සැබෑ ප්‍රගතිශීලී විපක්ෂයේ කාර්යභාරය.
It is the Janata Vimukti Peramuna that is carrying out the duties of a true progressive opposition that is needed in the country today. We know that there are other opposition parties in this country, but these parties are not fulfilling their responsibilities. Thereby, it is us, the JVP, that are carrying out the task of a progressive opposition in the country for the rights of the people. We are fulfilling this task in Parliament, the provincial councils, and even in the battles on the streets. In the recent past, the government has taken anti-populist steps. At these instances, we stood for the people against these actions, and we will continue to stand for the people as a progressive opposition. If they do something that is good for the people, we will support that venture. That is the task of a truly progressive opposition. The JVP is fulfilling this responsibility, but we are saddened that the United National Party, which is the main opposition party in the country, is not carrying out this task with the people who have taken to the streets. Everyone in this country will conscientiously agree that we are carrying out the task of a progressive opposition for the people.
මෙරටේ ජනතාව කවුරුත් තමන්ගේ හදවතින් පිළිගන්න.
The Australian government will not reveal if it has intercepted 2 asylum seeker boats that reportedly got into trouble in waters off the Australian territory of Christmas Island last week. Now, Australia's public broadcaster ABC is now reporting that it understands the 2 boats were intercepted by Navy patrol boats in Australian waters.
International media reports say the asylum seekers are headed to Christmas Island. If that happens, they will be the first arrivals in more than 6 months. One of the boats is believed to have departed from India, a country that is not often used as a departure point for asylum seekers heading to Australia. However, Australian authorities are yet to confirm if they have intercepted or aware of such a boat or boats, a stance which Australian media reports have contradicted. Meanwhile, India's The Hindu reports that neither the Marine Police nor the District Headquarters Unit of the Indian Coast Guard in the coastal city of Pondicherry are aware of the details of a group of about 150 Sri Lankan refugees reported to be stranded mid-sea while on their way to seek asylum in Australia. The reports also said that the boat supposedly left Pondicherry on the 13th of June. However, The Hindu reported that Pondicherry Marine Police and the Coast Guard said such a possibility was remote given the extensive coastal surveillance that is in place around the region. Sri Lanka's High Commissioner to Australia, Admiral Tissara Samarasinghe, has informed Australian media that Sri Lanka stands steady to cooperate with Australia. Admiral Tissara Samarasinghe, speaking to the Australian newspaper, pledged the Sri Lankan government's continued support for the border protection policies of Australia, including the swift return of boat people. We are now joined by our Beirut correspondent in Melbourne, Jason Kaduramapulle, with the latest on the situation there.
The ABC is reporting that more than 150 Tamil asylum seekers, including 37 children, were on board, and the boat was intercepted about 300 kilometers west from Christmas Island. Immigration Minister Scott Morrison will not comment on the reported reports, saying that the steering people smugglers of information about their boats has successfully stopped them. Speaking to a local radio station, Morrison said no boats have reached Australia. Morrison accused the Labour Party and the Greens for doing the bidding of smugglers by asking about the fate of the boats. Regardless, the fate of those who were aboard this boat or boats, if they in fact do exist, remains a mystery. I'm Jason Kadraman-Pulle, reporting for Newsfirst from Melbourne, Australia.
The Italian Navy has found about 30 bodies in a fishing boat carrying hundreds of migrants between Sicily and the North African coast. Now, the migrants who died appear to have been asphyxiated. The Navy released footage of their latest rescue operations but did not indicate if the boat where the migrants died was included in the footage. The discovery was made when rescuers boarded the vessel to evacuate a number of people said to be in distress, 2 of them pregnant women. The Navy says that over the weekend it rescued more than 5,000 migrants trying to cross from North Africa, and the figure was released soon after news emerged of the discovery of the bodies. The Navy said that those who died were crammed into a compartment below decks, and the fishing boat was carrying about 600 migrants and was being towed to a town of Pozzello, southern Sicily. A police constable attached to the Bhagavantalava police station has been injured following an attack by a suspect armed with a sharp weapon within the police station itself. Police media spokesperson SSP Ajit Rona says that the suspect being detained in the holding cell at the police station had been brought out of the cell for meals this afternoon. The suspect had snatched a knife from the kitchen and had attacked the constable while he was being taken to the toilet. The injured police constable has been admitted to the Navalapitiya hospital.
The Negombo High Court today rejected a bail application that was made by the lawyer appearing on behalf of UNP Western Provincial Councillor Royce Fernando.
The application that was made before the Negombo High Court was opposed by the Police and the Attorney General's Department. According to the UNP Western Provincial Councillor, was further remanded until the 21st of July.
There
was a unique element when this application was opposed today. That is, evidence that was not presented to court when this matter was heard at the Magistrates Court was presented before the High Court today. Not a single leader of the UNP was present at the hearing today. No one has visited him. The ones who were alienated by the party are the ones who are now representing people such as this to ensure justice for the members of the UNP.
Tamil National Alliance says Tamil-speaking people should be given the opportunity to testify before the commission appointed by the United Nations Human Rights Council.
The international community is trying to intervene into the internal affairs of Sri Lanka due to the government's failure to address the grievances of the Tamil-speaking people. The TNA has reiterated the need for an international investigation. This investigation has now begun, and the Tamil National Alliance will fully cooperate with this. Also, there seems to be an environment where the lives of those who have volunteered to give evidence before the Commission is at risk. Cabinet spokesperson Kelia Rambukwala said during a recent media briefing that legal action will be taken against those who provide evidence. He had said that this will pave the way for internal secrets of the country to be revealed. However, we must say that providing evidence about the affected is one aspect, while providing secrets is another. I must clearly say that if someone takes action against Tamil-speaking people for providing evidence in the guise of providing internal information about the country, this is wrong. Brigadier Ruwanwanigi Surya had said that the northern province is still engulfed in problems. What is the truth? The government acted out a drama saying that there is LTE in the north. 3 persons were killed in the north as a result. There is no terrorism in the country. If one says that there is terrorism in the country, it is the activities of the army. People are being abducted, disappeared and even murdered. This is state terrorism. Hence those who are affected should provide evidence and justice should be meted out to them. That's their right. The government should not disrupt this.
The University Grants Commission says that the state universities have seen rapid growth and development over the years despite reports of protests by a fraction of university students. Shanika Hirimburegama expressed these views at an event held in Colombo this morning.
In unruly activities that we see here and there in the university system, these are created by very few numbers of universities, perhaps to take 10,000 students, maybe 2 or 3 are involved and others are being dragged by force. We are thankful to the media for informing all this to the country because it gives the impression that there are only troubles in the university system. No, the university system is running very well. We have national, international reputed academics, and unfortunately the incidences here and there have been given much prominence. Yes, but we need to be together, the students, the administrators, the academia, in order to develop the university system.
The UTEL Award ceremony to felicitate students who passed the university test for English language was held in Colombo this morning. A distinguished group including intellectuals and educationists were present at the award ceremony.
The renowned Indian environmental activist and anti-globalization author Dr. Vandana Shiva says that a shift to biodiverse ecological systems in agriculture could cut carbon emissions by 40%. She made this statement during a lecture on the Right for Seeds and Water, a campaign for an alternative development model delivered by her in Colombo this morning.
A system of industrialized, globalized and processed food contributes 40% of all greenhouse gases that are destroying the atmosphere. A shift to biodiverse ecological systems would reduce emissions 40% while increasing our biodiversity, while increasing our nutrition, while increasing livelihood security of our farmers, and while increasing our ability to adapt. So we can have two responses to climate change. One is panic and fear, which leads to helplessness. And the other is clarity, asking ourselves what is it that we can do to change the system, and cultivating resilience with hope.
A distinguished gathering including representatives of the agriculture sector were present at the lecture held in Colombo today.
Newly elected Prime Minister Narendra Modi pitched frugal space prowess for India and asked scientists to take up the challenge of developing a SARC satellite minutes after witnessing the launch of a rocket carrying 5 satellites from France, Singapore, Germany and Canada at the Mission Control Center in Sriharikota yesterday. Modi seized the moment with an uplifting speech addressing the House of Scientists after the historic launch of the Polar satellite launch vehicle, which will bolster India's goal of capturing more of the $304 billion annual global space market.
We must do more. Ye dil maage more. Today, I ask our space community to take up the challenge of developing a SARC satellite that we can dedicate to our neighborhood as a gift from India. A satellite that provides a full range of applications and services to all our neighbors.
Modi said the event fills every Indian's heart with pride and is truly a global endorsement of the country's space capability. Praising the achievements in space technology, Modi said the country's scientists have made India a global leader.
India's space program is a perfect example of scale, speed, and skill. Our space scientists have made us global leaders in one of the most complex areas of modern technology.
The Indian Space Research Organization or ISRO launched the Rocket Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle or PSLV C-23, which carried the 14-kilogram AISAT of Germany, CanX 4 and CanX 5 of Canada, each weighing 15 kilograms, and the 7-kilogram Velox 1 of Singapore. Today, the ISRO has launched 35 satellites of foreign countries. India launched its domestic space program 50 years ago and had to develop its own rocket technology after Western powers levied sanctions in response to 1974 nuclear weapons tests, resulting in a go-it-alone development mentality.
Being displayed, the third screen is showing.
In sports news tonight, Netherlands produced an astonishing late comeback to rescue their World Cup dream and deny Mexico a first quarter-final in 28 years. Costa Rica also cemented a spot in the quarter-finals of the World Cup for the first time in their history after beating Greece 5-3 in a penalty shootout in Recife.
Louis van Gaal's side looked to be down and out in the searing heat of Fortaleza after Giovanni Dos Santos had fired Mexico into a 48-minute lead, and goalkeeper Guillermo Ochoa continued his heroics as the last line of defense.
Santos with the goal! Mexico take the lead! 3 minutes into the second half, Giovanni Dos Santos.
But the European nation dragged themselves level in the 88th minute as Schneider lashed home a venomous strike from the edge of the box and then went ahead from the penalty spot in the 4th minute of added time after Arjen Robben was felled in the box by Mexico captain Rafael Marquez, with substitute Huntelaar calmly sending Ochoa the wrong way.
Chance to make that challenge. Others in green were there for Schalke this season as they try and put off annals of the World Cup. Huntelaar scores! Last state, here we come!
At the final whistle at Estadio Castelao in Fortaleza, Mexico's players fell to the ground, unable to grasp how the game had slipped away.
With the clumsy challenge, and Huntelaar deposits the penalty kick, and Netherlands march on. Who would ever have thought it?
Costa Rica booked a World Cup quarter-final date with Holland as they held on with 10 men to see off Greece 5-3 on penalties. A keenly contested last 16 encounter in Recife ended 1-1, with Brian Ruiz as opener cancelled out by Socrates Papastopoulos in second half stoppage time.
Lets it run, great save, there's the equaliser! There is the equaliser! Greece have done it again!
Costa Rica, down to 10 men for almost an hour after Oscar Duarte's dismissal, scored their first 4 spot kicks. Theofanis Gekas missed for Greece and Michael Umana settled the tie. It means the Central American side, surprise qualifiers from a group containing England, Italy and Uruguay, go through to face the Netherlands on Saturday for a place in the semi-finals as their unlikely run at the World Cup continues.
Waters for Costa Rica. They're into the last 8. Greece are eliminated.
The Met Department forecasts that rainfall in excess of 100 millimeters may be experienced in some areas in the western Sub-Ragamo and central provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts. The Met Department is also forecasting wind speeds of 80 kilometers per hour in sea areas off the coast from Mana to Potterville via Galle. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Primetime News. Thanks a lot for joining us. I'm Shane Silva.
I'm Stephanie Lazarus. Take care and good night.